Hello and welcome to St Bede's TV. It's the end of week 3. We've made it all the way, 3 weeks done. And of course it's Good Friday today. It's the start of the Easter holidays. So if you've been working hard on your schoolwork, maybe you're allowed to have a few days off. Or perhaps you might be into a routine and you're enjoying doing your activities every day. So just keep that going, that'll be great. It's very clear from all the photos and the videos that have come in that you've been very, very busy over this last week. So that's where we'll start. We'll take a look. So as you can see, Verity's been very busy doing a wide range of activities. And Paula and Agnes, they've been really busy. Lots of creative work going on there, and another very unusual visitor to the house. Top marks to Esme for the way she's presented her photos. Lots of various activities going on, from baking to getting out into the sunshine. That's good to see. The schoolwork's been to a very high standard. Here's Poppy and Violet. Finley and Oscar, they look like they've had a good week. Everything from painting rainbows to making a den and a spot of home cooking. It's been non-stop for Alana. She's had a very busy week, but still made time to do her writing and a science experiment, and she's even done an entry for this week's competition. Now I'm sure, like me, you're missing seeing everybody every day, and this was just a reminder of that. Here's the Pawana family, Jacob and Elise and Eva, all looking very, very happy. They've had some unusual visitors as well. It's either doing the drawing challenge, and Eva's doing her written work, and then they've done some rainbows to decorate the windows, as well as making time for a few games, and it looks like Eva's doing some baking as well. I think we're going to have a lot of talented chefs and pastry chefs coming back to school. And the little Roblox character you can see in the middle there, well, I'll mention him a little bit later on. Here's Oscar Cass, getting a little bit of help from big brother Dylan. They were doing a science experiment to make some elephant toothpaste. Now, a slight confession for the next photo. I just wonder how, if you're in class 7, how those cars are going on. That a team took a pack each, but I did forget to give you something. I forgot to give you these split pins. Hopefully you've got something in the house. But being apprentice engineers, I'm sure you'll be able to come up with a novel way of getting around that if you can't get hold of any. You'll need them to get the power from the battery through the leads to the car. Hopefully you've made a start on them. We'd love to see an update, or if anyone's finished it, we'd certainly like to see it. Now here's Scarlett. She's been busy making jelly and doing her written work, and then she's produced this amazing piece of work, almost as big as she is. Lacey D's been very creative, even done a bit of 3D art there. And Anya's done everything from Joe Wicks to written work, and done her drawing as well. Lily's been quite adventurous, getting in the great outdoors, as well as working on her creative projects at home, and again a bit more baking. And this seems to have been a trend throughout the week, decorating the house. Here's Lily Hopper, creating the rainbow effect on the wall. Looks really effective when it's done there. And then she must be getting lessons off her grandmother, perhaps FaceTime lessons on how to make butterfly buns. I do hope I get to sample your baking at some point, Lily. Your grandmother, whenever she bakes, she usually sends a little note, "Not for Mr. Sharp." It's very cruel to me. I surrender to the love in my heart where your grandmother's concerned, and it just... Here's Philip. It's good to see Philip looking busy and active. He's doing his written work, decorating the windows, and even a bit of science experiment there. I think this could win an award from Violet. An amazing Easter cake with lots and lots of mini eggs. That's what we like. Been a busy old week in the Finney household. They both look to be concentrating extremely hard there. It even looks like a classroom that they've got set up. Doing a bit of research, and then of course getting out and about on the bikes. And they decided to decorate the outside of the great barn there. Now the Swans have had a good week. They breached the lockdown rules and actually went on holiday, can you believe? They went on a caravanning holiday all the way to the drive. They do like to get out in the caravan and eating the pizza. Not quite sure what the expression on Mrs. Swan's face means there. And here's Mr. Swan. It looks like a slightly younger version of Rabsy Nesbitt. Appenny's been busy, as always. Designed an Easter card. Looks like she's posted it off somewhere, as well as doing a lot of other written work. And when I first saw this from Finn, I thought he'd made the ship from Pirates of the Caribbean. It looks like Jack Sparrow's ship. But then his mother was quick to point out it's Golgotha, where Jesus was crucified. Olivia's been busy. She's had a bedroom makeover, lots of baking, getting her exercise. And of course they've been active at school with the terrible trio in charge there. But they've been adding a bit of colour and decoration to the prayer garden. It's been non-stop for Matilda. Everything from maths, science, art and design. Although I'm not quite sure why she's rubbing her nose on the washing machine. Now on the first day of lockdown, Anya and Ben decided to plant some seeds. And here they are, they're starting to show already. Anya looks very happy about that. Benny Barry's been very busy. She's designed a lonely emoji and done a written work, and then she's helping out with the household chores. Very important to help your mums and dads. These animals seem to be getting everywhere. They've raided the Williamson household, interrupting the great work that the girls are doing there. Everything from baking to designing their Easter cards and the written work. And Alex from F1's been very, very busy. They've been doing artwork. You see, painting the hands, doing the rainbows for the window, and then I think we've got a junior Gordon Ramsay in the making here. Definitely enjoying his cooking, and then enjoying it even more, trying it afterwards. Absolutely brilliant to see so many of you staying active, staying busy, and all looking so happy. Keep the photos coming in, please. You can send in your work or any photos for your class web page. There are 3 ways that you can communicate with school, depending whether you're in foundation, Key Stage 1 or Key Stage 2. The teachers are picking those up every single day, and if you've got questions or anything like that, you can use those email addresses there. And then the G-Sharp one is for this TV channel. So rather than get nothing, I'd rather get things twice than not at all. But if we can try and avoid sending duplicates, if you want to send things for your class web page to your teachers and then take new fresh pictures and send them in to us, and we'll share them every Friday. And just a little reminder once again that we need everything in by 5 o'clock on a Wednesday evening. And then someone sent me this funny one, which I'll have to share with you, because people have got to come up with novel new ways of doing things during these lockdown measures. So this is perhaps if you've got a young baby and you're thinking about having them baptised, this might be the way that it's got to be done. Very creative use of his time from Thomas Robinson there from class 7. Well done, that was really good. Here's Lacey taking the dog for a walk. And Anya's been giving makeup tips and Lil's been doing her baking.
What'd you put on?
Lipstick on.
Oh, whose was that?
It was my lipstick.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Did you ask anybody if you could put it on?
I asked myself.
Daisy's done some creative writing for us, and she's also then turned her hand to creating some music. Very talented. Also, Anya, she can knock a tune out on the old piano.
Guys, I hope you're having a nice time and not worrying about the coronavirus. So I did this to cheer you all up. And this is my poem about spring. Spring gives us joy, just like a giddy little boy. Spring gives us hope, just like the Pope. Spring is never sad, and no one is mad. Spring helps us try, and no one cries. We all love spring. A saviour's here, let's all cheer.
Matilda's been decorating the windows while listening to Elton John, and then there's been French lessons in the Woolley household.
Matilda, you saying hello?
Hi!
Bonjour, je m'appelle Verity, comment ça va?
Bonjour, je m'appelle Archie. Ça va bien, merci.
Just a little reminder, once again, it helps if the camera's that way on, just fills the screen. Now, Mrs. McDougall has been wandering around school asking people about their favourite happy song.
My happy song is Red Light Spells Danger by Billy Ocean.
Get a line of it then.
I can't remember where.
Spells danger.
My favourite song is Dionne Warwick, That's What Friends Are For.
My favourite happy song is Friends theme tune, I'll Be There For You.
My favourite happy song is Umbot by Hanson.
My happy song is Crab Rave. My happy song is Candyman.
My favourite song, which makes me happy, is Manchester United Champion.
My favourite happy song when the sun's out is In the Summertime by Mungo Jerry.
My favourite song that makes me happy is Believer, because the lyrics make me happy and like I could do anything.
My favourite happy song is Paradise City by the Guns N' Roses.
My favourite happy song is Perfect by Ed Sheeran. Alfie's favourite song is
Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a way for on the tree. Down on the canyon. What did the Humpty Dumpty?
Hey, well done. What a feeling when you're dancing at the ceiling. Come on, mate. What a feeling you're dancing at the ceiling.
My favourite song is We Built This City on Rock and Roll.
Our happy song is Lip Up Fatty, Lip Up Fatty,
It's good to see familiar faces, and Mrs. McDougall actually got some the right way. Very, very good. Now imagine if you were a professional musician and your instruments weren't at your home. What would you do? Maybe if you were a drummer and you wanted to practice your fills, you might have to do something like this. Last week, you might remember, we set you the challenge of trying to make a 1 minute animation using stop motion animation, and you could use any app that you wanted to, but the one we tend to use in school is iMotion, but I've seen some really creative use of other apps as well. That was really good to see. Now, there were quite a few entries, so I've pieced them all together and we'll put them on YouTube later on today. But let's have a look at the ones that did come in. Thomas went for a Harry Potter theme using his Lego figures. Very, very creative. Ethan stuck with the Lego theme to create his film, and it didn't go unnoted that yours was exactly 1 minute. Well done, Ethan. A great little story, and narrated by Olivia Hayter. Olivia Kay built her own figures and designed the set and did the voiceover. Very good. Sticking with the Lego theme, Alana did a unique little feature about the splash. Again, that lasted exactly 1 minute. Well done. Charlie Hayter did a comical little sketch about a builder and a portaloo. Again, sticking with the Lego theme. A very creative idea from Bernie. She created what it would be like for Steve on his first day in Minecraft. This was clever from Chloe. She incorporated the Easter theme and used an app I had not seen before. That looks really good. Well worth checking out. And Paige went to great lengths to build her set to produce and narrate her little film as well. Well done. Now, I was going to pick the winner of this because I thought I would be best placed to do that. But then it didn't really seem fair because I knew who'd sent them in and whatnot. So I stripped them all down, pieced them all together. I had to re-narrate some of them and I packaged them up and I sent them off to Mr. Freeman on Wednesday evening. And I asked him, would he be so kind as to look at them all and maybe revisit the rules and pick a winner. And I don't think he found it easy, did our Mr. Freeman. The calibre was very, very high, but he did send this email, and I'll read it to you. I can do a really good impression of Mr. Freeman. Would you like to see my impression of Mr. Freeman? Let me get into character. See, I told you I could do impressions. That's good. Anyway, let's read what Mr. Freeman put. Thanks for asking me to judge this week's competition, although it wasn't easy to pick a winner because the standard was so high. I loved them all, and it was clear that a lot of work had gone into them. The children who entered this week's creative competition should feel very proud of their achievements and will very soon be claiming your Animation King status in school. I had a quick look back at the rules which you stated and the advice you offered. Very, very thoughtful there, Mr. Freeman, which helped me come to the decision on the winner. Keeping the camera still really helped the winner's work shine. I loved the creativity in the clip. Landing on exactly 1 minute in length was also an added bonus. So for all those reasons, I pick number 5. I hope he or she is delighted. It was so clever, and a huge well done once again to everyone who took part. Kind regards, Mr. F. See, what do we think? I might use this more often. I think this might be better for us instead of having to look at me all the time. So who was number 5? It was Alana. Well done to you. Brilliant work, all original. The camera was kept still, lasted exactly a minute. Lots of things about it were brilliant, and it's hardly surprising really. When it was sent in, her parents did send an email to say that Alana's uncle actually worked on the stop motion animation for Bob the Builder, so she's obviously had some very good tuition along the way. Let's watch the whole little minute clip. So Alana, that puts you at the top of the Gold Coin League on 5, closely followed by last week's winner, Miss Rhodes. Now for this week, the challenge is worth 4 gold coins, and it involves you being very, very creative and thinking like an engineer. This was going to be a project that we were going to do in Class 7 to accompany the work with the cars, but we're going to open it up to everyone in school because this is actually part of a national campaign, and they've extended the deadline to September. So not only can you send your entry in to win the 4 gold coins this week, I will send all the entries into the national competition as well. Yeah. And the competition is this. It's if you were an engineer, what would you do? So in other words, you could design something from scratch, totally original, and that actually has a use. And the reason it's worth having a use is because a team at Strathclyde University will actually make this into a real thing. Now, if we look at some past entries from other school children, someone designed a watch that tracks your pet, and must have cameras at home so that you can keep an eye on where your little cat or dog or whatever you've got is. Someone else designed an electric charging lamp post, making 2 uses of one thing. That's really clever. And this young lady designed a fun bin just to encourage school children to recycle more. And as you can see there, that was made into a real thing and put into her school. Now, a little bit of friendly advice here. When young people tend to think about designing a product, something brand new, something that will actually be made, they tend to do things that hover or that are invisible. And there are thousands and thousands of entries of things that hover or that make you invisible or go invisible. So I think we need to think a little bit wider and a little bit further and come up with some novel and really creative ideas. And perhaps the best starting point is to think of a problem. Is there a problem within your household? Well, could you design something that would make life easier? Does someone have a disability and then they would perhaps need a bit of help with something? This competition does need a little bit of thought and some accompanying work to go with it. So the start point for everybody will be to complete this flow chart. Think of a real world problem, and then who will it help? Who will the audience be? Who will the people be that use this? It's a little bit like a Dragon's Den type idea that there's no point going into the expensive costs of making things or mass producing things if only a very few people would use it or it got very limited use. And then for this problem that you've identified, can you think of some solutions? And don't just stick with one idea, think of maybe 2 or 3. And then you can get into the design phase. Use this next sheet to start to design and display how your item or your product does work. And then lastly, you need to write an accompanying letter to say why you invented it, what practical use it has, and why you think it should be made into a real item. Now, there's a lot of work going on at the minute for engineers to design protection equipment for people working in the NHS. I know our old friend Mike Ford from Bloodhound, he's been using his home equipment to make 3D printed face masks. But these things already exist. You've got to come up with something that's totally unique, totally original, and then design it. And because this will be turned into a real thing, try to avoid the hover and the invisibility thing. You don't have to use these sheets, but if you do want to, you can find them under the Creative tab. Right at the bottom there, there's a new section called Resources. I've put all the forms on there that you need. Just right-click and you can download them and print them out and use. If you can't get access to them, don't worry. Just get your idea down on paper. We will need those 3 items to come in, so the thinking behind your design, the actual design itself, and then the letter to go with it. So it will take you a bit of time. Start to think about it, try and identify some problem, some real world problem that you can build a solution to. Ideally then, if your parents can email me all 3 of those items, we'll pick a winner next week for the 4 coins. But I am going to send them off to the primary engineer competition as well. So nationally, you could get some recognition and your design could be made into a real thing. I've had a busy week with the imposers. I've been working hard to actually build them and get them so that we can animate them. It's taking longer than I thought. In fact, I've only really half done 1 at the moment, but this is the long, slow process, and we will get there with those. That's not an issue. Daisy has started to develop some characters now. She did the map last week, and she's got the characters starting to come together as well. Remember, this is the long haul challenge where we're all hopefully giving thought to writing our own book. Could be a bestseller. Now here's Dakota Morton-Litchfield, and she's designed a squirrel there on a card. Mrs. Wassell likes squirrels. She might like to receive a card like this. But Dakota actually made that card and sent it to the local old folks home. Just addressed it to the home. And if you want to see what an impression that made, here's the lady that received it. As you can see, she looks delighted with the card, and I'm sure she will treasure that. And what a lovely thing to do, Dakota. Well done. We saw this guy earlier. It's from Roblox. This is Elise Pawana. Been doing some digital art. Very talented. All without any tuition. She's just designed that and done it herself. Very well done. Looks brilliant finished. Now it is, of course, Good Friday. It's been Holy Week, so there's been some activity around that. Here's Thomas. He's built a Garden of Gethsemane out of Lego. Archie and Verity have done a variety of things, making Easter cards and building a garden. And then Mrs. Kane very kindly sent me a little summary of some of the photos that have been coming into Key Stage 2. Lots of great work going on there. Good mix of activities. And then Mrs. Hart sent me these from Key Stage 1. Ola's been very busy. Maisie's done lots. There's Alfie, concentrating on his writing. And there's Mac on his Mac, looking very studious. And just in the nick of time, this last photo came in for Scarlett. Now remember, we'd love to give you a mention if it's your birthday. It's not the same at the moment. So if it is your birthday, do let us know. Mrs. McDougal's done this. It's her son's birthday, Josh. He's 29, I believe. It wasn't initially clear what that was, but it's an American football, isn't it? Yeah. Olivia, she turns 11 tomorrow. Happy birthday to you, Olivia. I'm sure you'll have a great day in the Hayter household, having a very different birthday party, but we hope your day is very, very special and you'll have a birthday that you'll never forget. And we can also mention landmarks and various other achievements in this part. It was a very special week for Miss Dowell. Her baby daughter was a month old. She celebrated that. Would you like to see a picture of Florence? I don't think that joke will ever get old. Now here she is, obviously, looking very, very happy. There's lots of happy smiling photos of baby Florence. Maybe we'll get to meet her one day soon. I'm sure we will. Must be torture for Florence's grandparents not being able to call around. I'm sure there's been lots of FaceTiming going on. It'll all be over by Christmas. Now who could forget the wonderful performance from Mrs. McDougal last week? Unforgettable, the Elvis medley. Well, she set the challenge and not want to shy away from it. Here's Mrs. Bunclark.
Hi everyone at St Bede's. The lovely Mrs. McDougal nominated me, my lovely friend, to do as many bunny hops in 1 minute. So I've took the challenge. I've dressed up as a rabbit and the white rabbit again. The costume's out again. And I need to see how many I can do in 1 minute. Okay, so here goes. Are you ready, Mr. Bunny? Get the timer on.
Go, start. It's pink rabbit's tail. Keep going, keep going. Time.
Lost a little bit of counting there in between the dog pinching my rabbit tail. I think it was about 84. So I challenge all the kids to see how many they can do in a minute as well. Right.
Bobby, can we have that back, please?
Got a pin in it.
Well done. A little bit out of breath there, Mrs. Bunclark. Maybe this lockdown you're not getting the exercise that you should be. Let's go for a walk round Greasborough Dam.
Fortnight dancers by Mrs. McDougal. Apparently I think this is down to Mr. Shaw. But here goes. I've got help. Social distancing, so we'll give it a whirl. Apparently the first one is the floss. Floss, floss. Is that enough? Is that enough? That's enough for that one. The second one, first one. Loser. Mr. Shaw, this is you. Next one. Can't do this for too long. Too tiring. That'll do. Next one. And do this. All the way on the blockage. And then, oh, it's this last one. And the last one. Nice one, everybody. Thank you.
And well done, Mrs. Chadbourne. I'm sure you didn't even know what fortnight was this time last week, so you've researched that, done it really well. Nice to see that you had a little bit of help there. Now, unfortunately, in her excitement, I think it must have been getting dressed up and everything else, Mrs. Bunclark forgot to nominate, but Mrs. Chadbourne didn't.
Right, hopefully the task was done, as I said. Now it's my turn to nominate, and I'm going to nominate Mr. Swan. Now, you've got to do a 5-minute challenge of a Joe Weeks workout for the children on Friday to do. Mr. Swan, don't mean to do yours, but good luck, and I hope to see you all on Friday. Bye.
So there we are, Mr. Swan. You've heard it there. It's nomination straight from Mrs. Chadbourne. You didn't specify if you wanted him in lycra or anything like that. See, Mr. Motivator's been making it back on onto television. If you want to put further stipulation on that, Mrs. Chadbourne, do feel free. In terms of staff nominations, you don't have to nominate anymore now. The list that we've been getting in is extensive, and when just not short. So the other member of staff, there were quite a few that leapt out, but the one, this one's a good one, because it involves Mr. Booth and food. Mr. Booth's a big fan of food in the office. He's had a little refrigerator installed. So this is a really good one. I like this one. The challenge is, can you listen to Mr. Booth, can he eat 6 dry cream crackers in under a minute? Dry. Don't be sneaking a little bit of butter on there, or any dairy lee or anything like that, Mr. Booth. So there you are. It's Mr. Swan and Mr. Booth. An all-male challenge next week. Whoa! Don't let the side down. Don't let the children down. Try and get those videos to me as quick as you can. Just a reminder, obviously there's still loads of ways that you can get in touch with school if you need any help at all. You can phone, you can email, you can use all the systems for contacting us. I hope we're all looking out for each other and that you're staying connected, but do please, if you need help, do let us know. Now, your class web pages are the place to go. Teachers are working very hard to keep them refreshed, often daily, lots of challenges, lots of things that you can be doing on there. But a couple of other things that are worth a look are Mr. Freeman. He set up our Facebook page. This is in addition to his class page. And there's lots of advice and help and tips and things on there. So if you're in class 8 and your parents have got Facebook, then that is another thing for you to check out. Just like class 2, Miss Parkin has set up the dressing gown teacher. Again, there's lots of great content on there for you to check out if you're in class 2. Now, I really like this. This is called Mathigon, and it's, as it says there, it's the textbook of the future. And it's just something, if you are really, really obsessed with maths, you love maths problems, you love just working with maths and doing all sorts of things like that, then this is a must-see site for you. I don't think it's anything we've ever used in school, and to be honest, some of it is for older children, some of it is for secondary, but it's entirely free to join. There are lessons and there are activities. It doesn't cost anything. Just perhaps get your parents to help you. You can set up an account. Everything from maths origami to various puzzles, structured lessons as well on there. And it's all in a format that's just new and exciting. It's very challenging. But like I say, if you just need something different from, say, your My Maths, or maybe your parents aren't mathematicians and they might need some assistance helping you, then it's definitely worth a look. There are even maths games and things like that. have a look. There's lots of sections relevant to what you're doing. It just might help you with your maths, or it gives you another avenue to look at. Now, Miss Gascoigne's got some very influential friends. Here's Lord Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Hi everybody, I'm Andrew Lloyd Webber, and I'm here to tell you that Universal have come up with the idea of a whole series now called The Show Must Go On, which is about musicals going from stage to screen, and they're going to show one of mine every Friday for the next few weeks, starting off with Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and sometime buried in the schedule later on, the most important one, my disaster musical By Jeeves, and I'm very, very fond of it, and so will you.
If you are a fan of musical theatre, or you want to get some ideas for future productions in school, then Andrew Lloyd Webber is putting his big production shows that normally appear in the West End, they're going online on a special YouTube channel. I think it was Joseph last week, and tonight it's Jesus Christ Superstar, and as he said there, there's a new one every Friday. Well worth checking out if you're a fan of that type of thing. Now, if you were wondering how I did my impression of Mr. Freeman earlier, then you need to check out Apple Clips, especially if you've got a relatively new iOS device. Now, as you can see here, I did this bit of filming while I was out walking Cooper. It's out in the open air. There's no green screen involved, which is why it's not really getting my hair every time. But if you fancied being a hologram in the Millennium Falcon and all sorts of other effects, again, that's filmed outside, so it's very, very clever. If you did it a little bit more structured in your home or your bedroom, the effects are really, really powerful. But yeah, well worth checking out. It's going to be our go-to movie making app of choice. As you can see there, there's a third dimension because it's not landscape or portrait. It's a square screen to fit in with social media. And then you can put your, there you are, if you want to be a mouse or any of the other animojis that exist, from a cow. Lots of fun to be had. It tracks, they're really, really clever because they track your face movement. So if you were to blink or to wink, open your mouth, nod your head, whatever, the camera picks it up instantly, and it will just mirror your movements. So that's Apple Clips for iOS, available on iPhones and iPads and all Apple devices. But if you can, that's a sneak preview. If you can, you may already use Clips, but if you can get into it or certainly explore Clips, then that will give you a head start for when we get back to school. Now, I know a lot of us, we watch this probably later in the week rather than tune in live. But if you are watching now, Friday morning, then we need to give you a little reward and a little incentive. So there's going to be one gold coin up for grabs, and it's going to be in the form of a quick quiz. There are 10 questions coming your way, so if you want to grab a pen and paper, maybe just quickly pause the video, get yourself a pen and paper, and then the idea is that when you've got all 10 answers, you might have to research a couple, but you may know them all off the top of your head. Get your parents to email the answers in. The first set of correct answers that come in, that person will receive one of the highly valued gold coins that will get you on the scoreboard actually as well, because there's not many names on at the moment. So if we are ready, here we go with the quick fire 10 questions. Which famous car manufacturer's logo is this? Question 2, which cartoon character is this? And I want his full name and middle initial. Question 3, what film is this the poster for? This character is the mascot for the now not happening 2020 Euro competition. The question is, what's his name? Who is this former member of St. Bede's staff? This is a silhouette of which country? Who wrote this very famous book, The Jungle Book? Can you name this actor from the Star Wars series? Which country's flag is this? And then question 10 is the stinker. What are the next 2 letters in this sequence? T, W, T, F. So get scribbling down your answers. The first email to come in that we've got all 10 correct will receive 1 gold coin. Good luck with that. And if you're watching this after today, i.e. Saturday onwards, there's no point because it will have already been won. I'm sure someone is already typing right now, sending that in. So that particular competition, that will close today. So if you're watching on replay, don't bother. We are going to be back for episode 4 next week. Even though it's the Easter holidays, I think we're all into a routine. We're not going anywhere. Can't go on holiday. So if you're happy to send all your photos in, your clips, your videos, and I think that school is still open some of the week, so there will still be activities going on in school, but your teachers will still be able to pick up those email addresses and everything. Have a great week. Keep busy, keep active, keep looking after each other. Stay at home to stay safe. Send all your work in. We'd love to see it. And let's not forget, today is Good Friday, so we'll get a special little message from these two.